Hi everyone and welcome to the YouTube channel. In this video we will tell you about the new $260 billion China-Russia Rail Project. The China-Russia Rail Project is an ambitious plan to link the two countries' economies through a high-speed rail system. The China-Russia Rail Project is an ambitious plan to link the two countries' economies through a high-speed rail system. The project aims to connect China's western regions with Russia as well as Russia's Far East with China. It will also help to connect these regions with Europe and other world powers. The rail project was announced in 2016 by Chinese President Xi Jinping and Russian President Vladimir Putin at a conference held in Beijing. The goal is to have the first section of track running by 2020 and be completed by 2025. The initial cost of this project is estimated at $260 billion, which includes the cost of construction and maintenance over its lifespan. China and Russia are both large, developing countries that rely heavily on the transportation of goods and people. The two countries have been working together for years on infrastructure projects, but this new initiative will help them build a high-speed rail network that will help both nations' economies grow. The project was launched in 2020 with the goal of connecting Moscow and Beijing by 2022. The goal is to create a system that could accommodate up to 10 million passengers per year. Once completed, it could provide a vast number of jobs for residents in both countries as they transition from using cars to using trains. The project will connect the Russian Far East with China's eastern seaboard and will cut travel time between Moscow and Beijing from 10 days to just 3 hours. China and Russia have started plans to build a new train line that will connect the Russian Far East with China's eastern seaboard, cutting travel time between Moscow and Beijing from 10 days to 3 hours. The project, called the Russia-China High-Speed Rail, was set to begin construction in 2021, and it may be worth up to $260 billion. The rail line will run through Mongolia and Kazakhstan before heading north into Russia's Far East and down through China's eastern provinces. It will reportedly be able to accommodate speeds of around 350 kilometers per hour. The governments of both countries hope that the line will help them boost trade with each other and other countries along its route like India and South Korea and reduce global warming by removing cars and trucks from the roads. The new rail link between China and Russia will cut travel time between Moscow and Beijing from 10 days to just 3 hours. The project will connect the Russian Far East with China's eastern seaboard and will cut travel time between Moscow and Beijing from 10 days to just 3 hours. The route would involve a transport corridor of approximately 4,000 kilometers across Russia's Far East. The high-speed railway would include 4 track sections totaling 1,800 kilometers. A total of 4 stations are planned: Vladivostok, Khabarovsk, Khanty-Mansiysk, Vladivostok. The announcement came at a press conference in Beijing on Tuesday by Russian President Vladimir Putin and Chinese President Xi Jinping. It was held during Putin's visit to China for the first time since becoming president in 2000. The two leaders also signed an agreement on building a high-speed rail link between their countries by 2020, which is expected to reduce the time needed for passengers to travel from Beijing to Moscow to just 12 hours. China and Russia are launching a train project that will bring $260 billion worth of goods from China to Russia. We're thrilled to announce that Russia and China will be launching a train project that will bring $260 billion worth of goods from China to Russia. The new route will run through Siberia and the Russian Far East, taking advantage of the Chinese investment in rail infrastructure there. This new project will be a major boon for both countries' economies. It's estimated that it could generate up to $260 billion in economic activity over its initial 20-year lifespan, as well as create over 730,000 jobs across Russia and China. The new route is expected to help mitigate some of the effects of global warming, since it will cut down on carbon emissions by providing more efficient transportation options for goods and people between these two nations. China and Russia are launching a new train project that will bring $260 billion worth of goods from China to Russia. The project is expected to create over 10,000 jobs, and it's being funded by the Chinese government. The train will be able to carry as many as 2,000 containers at a time, which means it can move about 40 trains worth of cargo in one trip. It will travel through Siberia, stopping at major cities along the way before arriving in St. Petersburg. The project will connect China with Russia's natural resources such as oil, coal, metals, and agricultural products. The train itself will have a capacity of 17 million tons per year and cover an average distance of 5 kilometers each day. It's expected to take around 4 months for the train to complete its journey from Beijing to St. Petersburg. The railway will be built across the border between the two countries, and it's expected to be completed in 2025. The new China-Russia Rail Project is a huge step forward for the two countries. The train will connect Moscow and Beijing, which will be completed in 2025. It will be the first time that people in different countries have been able to travel across the border by train. This massive project has been approved by both countries' governments and will be constructed on land that belongs to Russia, but it's not clear how much of it will actually be built in Russia. Some reports say that China will pay for half of the cost and Russia will pay for the other half, but other sources say that China will pay for everything and Russia won't even get a penny back. The Chinese government hopes that this new rail line will encourage tourism between China and Russia as well as encourage more trade between these two countries. China and Russia are working on an ambitious project to build a railway across the border between the two countries. The railway, which is expected to be completed in 2025, will be built across Siberia and will connect China's eastern seaboard with St. Petersburg. The project will cost $260 billion and is expected to create thousands of jobs for Chinese workers. Finally, China and Russia are teaming up to build a new $260 billion rail line that will connect their two countries, but that doesn't mean the project is going to be easy. The new railway will span 2,000 miles, which means it will be one of the longest rail lines in the world. It will also have to cross some pretty treacherous terrain and challenging weather conditions. The joint venture between China and Russia represents a huge opportunity for both countries to create jobs and economic growth. However, there are still many challenges ahead for this project, including how it will be financed, who will build it, and how they will pay for it all. We've been waiting on this one for a while now, and it finally happened. China and Russia have agreed to build a new rail line between the two countries. The project will cost approximately $260 billion, and it will connect Moscow with Beijing via Kazan, Ufa, Irkutsk, and Xining. This is just the beginning. There are even plans for a second line connecting Shanghai to Beijing. With this project, the two countries have agreed to work together to establish new high-speed rail networks that will link all of China and Russia's major cities. The project will also include development of freight lines that will connect ports and other infrastructure. The goal of the project is to improve transportation infrastructure throughout the region and provide an alternative mode of transportation for those who live in rural areas or are too far away from train stations to use them regularly. Thanks for watching till the end. We will meet you in another video.